So what we're going to do is, before this goes inside, I'm going to do this twice. Okay, twice. A wet rag, wet. All right. I'm going to try and put moisture back in this here, soaking wet. Okay, and it really don't penetrate that well. You know, it's fire hardened. So I'm going to do my best to saturate this with water. Try and get some hydration back in this. Because I don't know when I'm going to tiller it. But so wrapped in this towel is my fire hardened Hop Hornbeam bow. And the reason it's wrapped in this soaking wet towel, it's going to stay like this for like an hour, is because after I wiped it down a few times, though there was a reading of like 9 in the riser, the limbs still read 0, like there's no moisture being absorbed. So I'm giving it a little bit of a boost. We're going to leave it like that for an hour. I'll take it out and bring it in the house. If I have to do it again, I'll do it again. I guess the 6% or a little more, I'm hoping a little more, then I'm going to go tiller it, because this wood seems to retain a little less moisture when it's fire hardened than hickory, but I will never ever tiller a bow under 6% ever of this Hop Hornbeam. It just cracks. Okay, good afternoon. It's 12:40. I'm out here with this Hop Hornbeam. I've been taking moisture readings, and this afternoon it was between 7 and 8 in the limbs, and I usually get like 6 or less on these, and I've been hydrating it early this morning and left it alone for a few hours, and I'm going to attempt to tiller it today. And there's a little crack in the end. I'm just going to take some material off and see how deep it is. And it's longer than I need. It's 66 inches. I have a 26.5 inch 3/4. I'm going to take an inch off each end. Okay, instead of having a 66, it'll be 64. And then I'm going to mark down an inch and put the string grooves in. Okay, as you know, I've talked to Keith Shannon. I was honored to have him reach out and talk to me. And I learned so much from him. And there's a lot of things, multiple things he taught me. But one of the things that's so important is don't rush anything. I mean, I got the bow out here. I took my time and made sure it had the right moisture content. And now you're cutting string grooves, and you're looking over there and you got your tillering equipment. You want to start tillering, and you're cutting grooves. But take your time. Always take your time. Don't rush anything. Make sure it's sanded. Make sure that the string loops aren't going to catch. It's all ready. And if you get frustrated or you're on edge and you say, oh, I got to hurry up, that's the time to step away. Because like he said, you know, sometimes if you slow up, things go faster. Because if you rush, that's when you make mistakes, okay? And now we're going to do this tillering, micro tillering. That's next. And you have to have patience. And I actually changed my tillering stick. I had these big 2-inch gaps, and I made them to 1 inch. Like he said, go down an inch at a time. So I did that. I couldn't sleep. I did that 12 o'clock at night. You know, my son was out on a brush fire, and my wife was upstairs sleeping, and I went in the garage, and I made a nice 1-inch notches. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how I tiller it, and I'm going to try to I'm going to have a perfect tiller if I can, okay? So, talking to Keith Shannon early on, he said, make the bow level perfect, and I didn't understand what he meant. But when you see the bow with the back set and you pull it down to try and get the limbs level, okay, like if you look on the left, that's level. But in order to get that limb on the left level, this one, the top limb, we're going to call it the top limb, the right side, because we have the fade out mark facing me. You see it bending more. So what we're going to do is start this early micro tillering, and we're going to try and make this stiff left limb even with the right limb. I got to try and make a mirror image. And I couldn't do that if one side's bent up. So I made this level, and that seems to be bending more. We're going to work on it. We're going to work on looking at this here. Okay, see the big space? See what it looks like? Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take off material off of this here. Okay. Sorry, doing this by myself, it's a little rough. But okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take some material off here. Okay. To make this side bend like that side. And you can see right away, right? There's a little space here, and it's definitely lower here. So we're going to remove material here. All right. And after we start, I'm going to start removing material from the center, working my way out. I'm going to take a little bit more off of here to get it to bend too. We'll get back to you. I'm sorry if my explanation isn't that clear, but as we go along, hopefully you'll see what I'm doing. Okay, because you see my pencil mark is from here to here. So if you were going to just hand sand, to take this down, what you would do is, like I use 60 grit hand sandpaper. I would mark the edge over here and here, and I would start rubbing in the middle, a bunch of strokes, and then work my way out a little bit. And what I'm trying to do is just take a little material curved out. All right, and then I would put the pencil marks back in and do it again, and then check it. Okay. They say it's not necessary, but I always round the edges before I check anything. Okay, I remove material, and we're going to flex it down. It got a little warmer, so I took off my sweatshirt, and the sun is pretty bright. And you should really wear a hat or sun protection. You know, I had that skin cancer, but other than that, while you're trying to look at things in the sun, the bright sun, it's not quite like snow blindness, but the bright sun could affect how you're looking at things. So when I have a hat with a brim, I could see what I'm working on really clear without any bright sun in my eyes, and I could try and get it perfect. Okay, you can see I got a little movement now. All right, let's check it out. Again, I use the back of the ruler where there's no markings. Okay. And we can see there's still, in this area here, although there's a little gap here and a little gap here, there's still right here, more material needs to come down. And if you look over here, just to refresh your memory, right, we have this big bend. So this side here is bending a lot, okay, compared to over there. Okay, I must have went back and forth probably 5 times on this side to get it to bend. And from the fade out to the end of the limb is 28 inches, and I marked 14 as the center, just to give us an idea when we're eyeballing it. And again, I'm not looking at the numbers, I'm turning that yardstick around. Okay. And what we want is a mirror image. And we can see now that I got it bending a little bit here. Okay, that we got it bending a little bit here. That we got more of a bend here. It's not bending enough here. And it's not bending on the outer limb here either. Okay, now this side that we saw that big bend, let's just recheck it now. Okay. And see what it looks like now that we have a center mark there. Okay, so we got this center mark. And you see here now, with this here, you can see it's got a bigger bend here, not enough of a bend here, and it needs here. So the outer in the middle needs to be taken out a little bit on this one, okay? And if you just look at it without any kind of ruler, you'd say, oh, like Keith Shannon says, if you looked at it without a rule, you'd say, oh, that don't look bad. That looks pretty good, right? But it isn't. It's not good. It needs to be perfect. So we have to work on it, okay? So I'm just sharing some of the things I learned, and hopefully this will work out, and there'll be enough hydration I put into this here so we can get it to tiller perfectly. Okay, just so you know, sometimes it might be a little overwhelming if you mark both sides. So just do one side, if you have the fade outs marked only on the one side, you know that those marks will always be facing you. Okay, if you have the fade outs marked on one side, you know that that side will always be facing you. And sometimes it's a little overwhelming to mark both sides and go sand and say, gee, was the right side a little more to the middle or whatever? So you can do one limb at a time. All right, we'll mark the one at a time. I'm going to check this one again. And we're looking for a mirror image. And we have a center point marked, right? So here's the center point. Okay. And when we look at this bend now, it's not bad. It's not bad. We got a little more here than here. Okay, but it's really getting there. Okay, and I went back and forth a few times. And now this one here with the big bend, let's check. Okay, because I had marked the outer limb a little bit on this. And we're going to see what it looks like. It's hard with the string there. Okay. Okay, so here we go with this. And here's the center mark. And it's bending more in the middle here than it is here. So we're going to mark some of this here. Okay. And a little here. Okay. But if you just had to do one limb at a time, do the one limb, take care of it, restring it, and then look at the other limb. So you don't get confused on, oh, what do I got to do? Because it's not a race. And if you feel rushed or you have to get done, like I learned, you know, you learn from, once again, I don't want to repeat myself here over and over, but Keith Shannon said, and it makes a lot of sense, that sometimes if you slow up or you get frustrated, it's better to slow up than continue, and you'll wreck it, all right? It's better to take a breath, go inside, have a drink, come out with fresh eyes, relaxed, calm, and say, okay, I'm going to tackle this nice and easy, a little at a time. All right, we're going to keep going and get this thing perfect if we can. And hopefully once I get it down to draw length, there'll be enough moisture in this wood that's been giving me a hard time won't crack. If it does crack, it might say something about the tension ability of it. Okay, not to bore you, but this is the process of going back and forth and trying to get this to bend perfectly, okay? You saw this one wasn't bending as much as this one, but we're going to check it out now. All right. Here's the center, okay? And basically we have what you could see is pretty much a mirror image going on. Let's check over here and see what we got over here. This was the one that was the challenging one. Okay, and it still may need work. Okay, so here's the center here. And you can clearly see it wasn't as bending as much as that, all right? And you couldn't tell by eye. If you didn't put this yardstick up here, you would have no clue what's going on with these limbs. So what we wanted to do is bend it a little more here. Okay, and we're going to come back and see what happens. I think the next time I come back, I'm going to show you that I remove back and forth, and we're going to have them bolt the mirror image, okay? This way, I don't bore you too much on the video. The other thing I wanted to tell you was, you see my pull-down stick that I have? Okay, you see the numbers? Those numbers are measured from the bottom of the riser to the notch that this slides up to. So you see the arrow pointing up? All right, this is 6.5. See this one here, 7.5 with a loose string. It's just to show you where you're going with the loose string. So you can repeat it every time, and go down 1 inch at a time. And it'll take you a while, but you go down 1 inch at a time to get that perfect bend. I recently, you could see, I made the guy Bobby, who gave us the hickory wood at the beginning of the summer, and I made him a bow, and I had to tiller it to 31 inches. He had a 31-inch draw. And I had to meticulously take down and make it perfect each step of the way in order to reach that 31 inches. You know, because you don't want it a little off, it'll break. So I had to mirror image it all the way down to 31 inches. And that was quite an accomplishment for me. He's happy with the bow. He shoots it. It's a wonderful bow, okay? So that's the idea of the marks, so you have a consistent point to come down to, all right? And then if you ever wanted to, like, check with your draw length, once you have it braced, you don't want to leave it on that stick. You just want to go down, check it quick, and don't go all the way to your draw length either. You know, go down, check it quick, and then let it up. Okay, I went back and forth twice since the last video. And let's see what we got. Okay, now for my old tired eyes, from here to there, it looks like a mirror image, okay? It looks beautiful. I think it's an outstanding bend. Let's check over here. Okay, and as I'm looking over here, okay, here's the middle. I see an outstanding bend, okay? So what we're going to do is go down another inch and check it out. Going down 1 more inch and check it out. There's nothing really that jumps out at me. And once again, you might see better because the camera's further back. You might say, oh, I see something, but from where I'm standing, I really can't. Okay, it looks good. This side might be a little bigger gap. But I really can't tell. It looks good. I'm going to go down another inch. Okay, let's check it out. Here's the center. Okay. As I'm looking, now I see as I went down a little that maybe a hair more here. Okay, a hair more here now I can see. All right, a little bit on the outer edge I can see a little bit. Let's check it out over here. See if I can move that up just a hair. It's hard doing this by yourself to catch it on the camera, you know. Okay, so let's look at this here. And this is still looking pretty good. All right, so we're just going to work on that one. And then we'll be back. Okay, so I took a little off. And if you look, we got it bended more. We got that mirror image going on. It didn't take much off the outer, out the outer limb to do that. Okay. Mirror images. Now, what I'm concerned about, I don't want to pull it down too much more. We only have this down now to what's 10.5 would be. Okay, 10.5. and my pull down scale has the same measurements, I'm going to pull it down to 10.5 just to see what the weight is. All right, and depending on what the weight is, I'll be happy with either a 47-pound bow or a 37-pound bow, one for 3D or one for hunting. I'd like to make this a nice hunting bow, but we'll see. I'm going to just check the weight. There's no stress on these limbs staying like this now. There's no stress. It's barely flexing, but it's flexing perfect. Okay, real quick, we moved it to 14 inches for the loose string, just for our measurement, and that looks perfect. Okay, going to check over here, 14 inches, and from my eyes, it looks perfect. We're going to do a weight check over here now at 14 inches just to see what we got. We have a 4 5/8 inch brace height string on there now, and we're just going to check out where we have our fade outs marked. Okay, 5 inches, 5 inches. Let's check over here. Check on the inside. On the outside of 4, 4 1/8 maybe. Okay, this one's on the inside. 4. Okay, so this one needs to bend just a little bit more to make up that little bit of difference. Okay, once you put a string on, it significantly increases the weight. I can feel it strong, how heavy it is now. Just by stringing it with a shorter string, it increases the weight. So I'm going to take off that little bit of material, try to get everything even, and then we'll move it down a little, check it, and then we're going to check it over there to see what the weight is. Okay, now I'm at the point where I make sure. People say you don't have to do it. Well, I do it. I round the edges, so the edges are nice and round, so we don't have no lift going on. Okay. I know just from feel how heavy it was trying to string it. Okay, and just from, without even putting it over there to see what the weight is, I took 20 strokes off of each side with the belt sander, which it's a dull belt, and it isn't really that much. And what I do is I put it on the belt sander with my hand flat, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, nice and level, and I took 20 off each side. I'm going to string it and check it out. Okay, I got from the inside of the fade out mark, I have 5 1/4, 5 1/4. On inside facing the riser, I have 4 1/8 on the line. I have 4 1/8 on the line. Okay, so it's even. And then we're going to go down. We're going to check the tillering quick, and just go down a little tiny bit, and then we're going to see the weight, because I have a feeling this is a lot of weight. In a minute, but the curiosity's got me. I got to see what kind of moisture we got now. We have to work in this all day. All right, 6.7. 6.9. 5.1. Okay, I'm happy. I'm happy. We have a chance of it not breaking and going poof. Okay, let's see what weight we got at 13.5. 25.7, almost 26 pounds at 13.5. Okay, and it's looking good. And tomorrow's another day. And I'm going to pack up and we'll continue this tomorrow so I don't mess it up. And that's the smart thing to do. You get tired, you get frustrated, whatever it is, back off, go take a break, or start tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Last night I checked the moisture content in this, and it was low. It was 4-point-something%. So I went outside and I hydrated it, came in, and thinking about tillering it again, finishing the tillering process again today. And all of the limbs read 4%, 4.3%. So the lowest my meter reads, usually it's 5, but the lowest mine reads is 4%. So I actually took this at the 22.9 and I soaked it underneath the faucet. Okay, I got it wet. And I don't know what's going to happen with it. I just want to put moisture in. I'm no longer going to tiller anything at 4% moisture. So we're going to let some moisture sink in. I got a few things to do today. And then we're going to tiller this. But I'm not tillering anything at 4%. Now, after I tiller it and make a bow, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, once I get it down, drawing to the pounds I want, everything, I don't know what's going to happen when that moisture runs out again, because it will. But that's it. This may be my last venture in Hop Hornbeam. I did make the one bow, this Hop Hornbeam bow here. Okay, I did make this one, and this is my hunting bow. And just for the heck of it, let's just test the limbs. And this one I could shoot right now. Okay, I'm gonna turn the camera around. Okay, let's see if I get a reading here. Okay, I don't show any reading. Oh, there it is. There it is. We had that 4 point. It's reading 0. But yet I could string this bow up and shoot it. Kind of crazy. Okay, this is a little flip tip recurve, a flip tip recurve. One of the earlier bows that I made, okay? And what I did was I reduced the weight to make it like a youth bow, to make it a youth bow, okay? And just out of curiosity, because this is hickory and there's no finish on the bottom, it's been sitting there, and there was no finish on that Hop Hornbeam that I showed you either, my hunting bow. Let's see what we get for a reading. It's interesting, 4.2. 4.1. I guess it's just the moisture content in this room. It happens to be a drier house, I guess. Okay, just wanted to check it. So I guess adding the little moisture to tiller it isn't going to hurt. And apparently once it's tillered and pulling back, it'll be fine. Crazy, but I had to just do a comparison just to see. All right, so that's what that limb reads. And this bow I haven't played with in a while. It's just one of the ones your beginning bows, you make it, you take some weight off, you throw it on a rack, and maybe someday you'll do it or give it to somebody. So, all right, interesting. 4.2. Okay, we're getting ready to start our second day of tillering. And I had time to think about what's going on with this wood. And as you could see in the prior videos, that this wood has dried up a lot while it was in my house to below 4%. And I won't tiller anything that's 4%. And a couple of things I realized. One is I have hot air heat, and the heat's been on now at night. And I imagine that would dry out the wood more than, let's say, if I kept it in a garage, for sure. Okay, so there's moisture. I put moisture in this wood, as you saw. And let's see what we got for some readings here before I start the tillering. Okay, I got 9%. 8%. And 5% in a riser. So we got a good enough amount of moisture for me to start tillering this. And the other thing I was wondering was the compression versus tension on this hop hornbeam. This hop hornbeam, there's a couple of woods that are called ironwood. This is one of them that fits that category. So I had a couple of break and they were dry and poof, you could see dust coming out like potato chip almost tillering. So we'll find out. I'm going to tiller this meticulously today, okay, with fresh eyes, recheck everything, retiller it, get it bending, try and get it to my draw length. And if this would break, if it would break while I'm doing this process, that might mean, it just might mean that the wood has more compression and less tension strength, okay? But we'll see. Going to get started tillering. Okay, with a 5-inch brace height, we're going to start looking at it again. And I was tired yesterday, and we're looking at it now with fresh eyes. Okay? So now when I look at this, you can clearly see it's not bending enough here on the inner limb. All right? It's not bending enough there. And it's got a little flat spot here. Okay, so a little flat spot here, but it's not bending enough here. Okay, and that jumps out at me that I'm refreshed today. Let's check over here. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got a flat spot here. It's not bending enough here. Okay, not bending enough here on the inner. And then a little bit here on the outer, it's flat too. Okay, so now with fresh eyes, I could see I have to refine tune this here. I have to redo this and just make it right. All right, starting the day with fresh eyes makes a difference. That was sloppy tillering at the end, and I didn't even realize it until today when I started with fresh eyes. Okay, I took off some material. We got a 5.5-inch brace height. We got 6 3/4 from the fade out mark over there, 6 3/4 here. On the inside of this halfway mark, we have 5 1/4. On the inside of this halfway mark, we have 5 1/4. Okay, and then we're going to put this up here and check it with the stick and see what it looks like. Okay, let's just take a quick look. Okay, it looks a little better. It's still a little stiff here, I would say. Okay, looks a little better. It's still a little stiff here. Okay, we got a 6-inch brace height. We have 7 1/4, 7 1/4, 5 1/2, 5 1/2. Okay, and we had taken some material off here to get it bend a little more. All right, and then before that we took a little off the outer edges. Let's see what we got. It really is hard to do this close up. When you look at the camera later, you could sort of see it looks a little better. All right, when I'm looking at this here, and here's the center point, okay, you could see that over here needs to bend just a little bit more. All right, it's a little more in here. All right, I'm going to stand back and look. Right, it's like a flat spot here. And let me look over here again. Okay, I'm trying to stand back a little bit, and yes, I can see now I stand back a little further. There's a flat spot in here. Okay, so we have to work on those two inner limbs and see if we can get them to bend a little bit more. Okay, just to show you, right in this area here, I'm not sure if it's just bark, sapwood, looks like a little bit coming up there, just a little bit. And I'm going to do my best to sand this out, but if it breaks, okay, if it breaks, we'll know that's coming from here. I'm going to try to eliminate it. Okay, I want to know if you could see this in the camera. Hopefully you could see this in the camera. But where that bark is, some of that little inner bark there, yeah, seems to be like a little bit of a lift on that bark. So I'm going to try and do my best again. There's some more pieces here that I have to. I'm going to take my time and go over this whole back of the whole, back of the bow. Okay, I have that bow at brace height now, and I'm just going over it. And any of this little inside these crevices, that bark that looks like it could come out or flake or cause a lift, I was sanding. See what happens. Don't look good, but we'll see what happens. Okay, we're going back and forth and back and forth, and we made sure everything's even from the fade out to the string to the midpoint to the string is all even. I rounded the edges. I checked the back where this bark is deeply embedded, and I sanded it. And I'm going to watch it as I pull it down a little to check too. If any of that seems to lift up, and I'll sand it a little more. Okay, I actually sanded the back of the bow a little bit with some 100 grit sandpaper. Okay, and we're going to keep our eye on it because I had these bows blow up on me. By far, hickory is the best wood that I ever worked with. And this Hop Hornbeam is challenging. Okay, we'll give you a challenging. That's what I'll give you on this. So we're going to put it on the tillering stick, go down to that 10.5, check it out, and then we'll see what's up. Okay, time to check it. We got it at that 10.5 inch mark. Okay. And here's the center. And from what I could see, we got a mirror image finally. Okay. And from here to here, let me check it again. Here's the center. And from looking back as best I can, we got a perfect mirror image. We'll go down a little bit more, another inch. Still looks good. Still looks good. Okay. Okay, let me go down one more inch. We'll check it. It still looks good. My old tired eyes say it looks really good. We're going to go down to 12.5. Actually, what this is here is 13.5. It looks pretty good, right? Possible a little over here. Possible a little over here. Let me slide it up a little bit because this dropped down a little bit. That might make a difference. Here's the middle. Honestly, it looks pretty good. All right, one more. And what I'm doing is I'm going to feel the back too. There's nothing that seems to pop up or anything. Now we should be getting something that pop up, you would think, right? Looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. All right, so we are at actually 15.5. So we're going to let it rest a minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the pulley jig and see how much weight we have at 15.5. See what kind of weight we got at 15.5. Okay, we only have 20 pounds. All right, and it looks like it's bending pretty good. I'm going to exercise these limbs a little bit. I'm going to go down to 20 and look at them. And once again, you really can't tell, but it's 28 at 20. So we're going to put it on and just check the tiller, 28 at 20 real quick. 20. Looks good. Come on. Don't want to stay too long like this. 20. Looks good. Okay. Okay, I had to raise this tillering jig so the clamp wouldn't be in the way. And we're going to go fast at this. We're going to go really fast as we can. We're going to go down 22 and see what happens. I'm going to check it out. Okay, it looks good, right? It looks good. It looks very good. It looks perfect. I know I'm holding it a little too long, but it's okay. Mirror image, okay? Gonna let it rest a little. Everything feels good. Okay, so we had this down to 22.5. Okay, 4 more inches is my draw length. Okay, so I'm almost afraid to pull it down and check it. We're going to come over to this pulley jig and gently pull it down a little at a time, and I'm going to watch the bend. Hopefully it don't break. We're going to go down a little bit at a time, see what kind of weight we get. And I'm okay with this being like around 37 for a 3D bow, because I have the big hump and I have the hickory recurve on my hunting bows, and I take the 2 of them out. So I'd be okay with this being like 37 pounds or so for a 3D bow. The riser thickness on this particular bow is 1.5 inches. Okay, it's 1.5 inches. Okay, and so once I get down to 25 in the black, that will be my draw length, and we'll see how many pounds it is. Okay, so let's check it out. I'm going to exercise it just a little bit. They say you don't have to, but I feel I have to. £34 at 24. 34 pounds at 24, which would be 25.5. Let me just feel the back on here and see how it feels. I've been looking at the limbs. It don't look bad. Everything seems good. This is the point where, you know, You make it or break it. Okay. So once again, I have to get down to 25 and then I could shape it and shoot it. Okay, it's 36 pounds at 25 and look at the limbs. Okay, I got myself a 3D bow. All right, let's see if it holds up now. I'm going to shape it, put a shelf in it, and then we're going to shoot it. And it took a lot for the tillering, all right, but that micro tillering with the yardstick, things that you can't see by your eye, you could see with the yardstick. And I know it's back and forth, and one bends more, one has to bend less. But once you get it, you know it's not going to break. It's satisfying, or you hope it's not going to break. All right. So we're going to shape this bow and we're going to shoot it. Okay, before I shape it, we're going to just get a little profile, see how it looks at my draw length. Oh, this is going to be a fine 3D bow. Let me show you what it looks like at this point. Okay, see I have the ends kind of tapered in. Okay, I have this riser kind of tapered in, but you stay away from the limbs. Don't go anywhere near the limbs, okay? Just, you can round them a little here, you round them a little here. When you make your shelf, you can make it round like this here, like radius, okay? This is radius or crowned, and this is radius, okay? And sand it. You know, you could sand a little better. I'm just going to go out and shoot it. And once again, when you grip it, you feel where it's got to come off. Like here is nice and round because my hand wraps around it. My palm would hit this corner here and I got it nice. It's all by feel, okay? I'm going to string it up, go outside and shoot it with that horrible string I have, that old string. And sometime during the week, I'll make a really nice string for it, if it holds up. And I think it will because of the great tillering job. That micro tillering is the way to go. And once again, if you were doing a hickory bow with this tillering the way I was doing, you'd have no problems. But this Hop Hornbeam is a tough wood. It really is a tough wood. You've seen from even me just trying to put it on the backside jig, it don't want to bend. Okay, so worked out. Micro tillering, use a yardstick like Keith Shannon uses because you can't see with your eye the imperfections. When you put that yardstick up, you go, oh yeah, I got to take more off here, I got to take more off there. And don't rush it. If you get frustrated, do like I did last night. Walk in, finish it, come out tomorrow and start again. And you see when I strung it up, I said, oh yeah, the inner limbs aren't bending enough. All right, and because I was exhausted the other night, I really didn't catch it. So next part is going to be shooting in the backyard. Okay, we're outside here with my 64-inch Hop Hornbeam bow. That's going to be my 3D bow. It's 36 pounds at my 26.5-inch draw length. Okay, I'm going to leave these tips. I'm just going to make them nice and smooth, but I'm going to leave them. I'm not going to shape them pointy like the other ones. I'm going to leave them like this, just make them nice and smooth and rounded, okay? Here we are at 10 yards. I happen to have these 800 spine razorback arrows. Huh. I never set the knock. This is a tillering string, an old string. All right? I think if I knock on top, it'll work. Okay? Whenever I'm close with these bows or any bow, I look down the arrow. I pull back, and I lay my hand in here and look down the arrow like I'm looking down a barrel of a shotgun. See the white dot on that deer target? That's going to be what we're going to try and hit. Not bad, not bad. Let's go back to, that was around 10. Let's go back to 15. Here we are, 15. I see that looking down the arrow went a little higher. This bow might be a little faster than my hickory. That's about the same weight. Okay, I got a knock on top again. Got to remember to do that every time because I didn't set the knock. I'll make a nice string for this one of these nights. Okay, here we go. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Next to the white. A little high. Like I said, this is kicking a little faster than my hickory. Let's go back to 20 and see if I can hit it. So far, I'm liking it. You know, I like all the bows I make. That's why I got so many. But here we are at 20. And we're going to aim at that same spot. Okay. Okay, here we are at 20. Just got to keep on remembering the knock on top of the knock. Okay, a little to the right. It's okay. Let's go to 25 just to see how it works out. I put that point at 20 on the belly of the deer and it rose up. So it's pretty quick. Once again, I got 800 spline arrows. They're 30 inches long. You know, who knows if they're splined right? I don't know. So here we are at 25. And it was so fast that 20 I tried putting it on the belly of the deer. So I'm just going to go a little higher at 25. I'm going to try putting it the lower third and we'll see what happens. Okay, hit or miss. This is the last shot. Because I'm kind of tired and I'm loving the bow, and obviously it's going to need a little more meticulous sanding, and then I'll have to decide what I'm going to finish it with. All right, but let's see. The lower third we're going to try. Okay, hit the belly. I'm going to send another one down there. You see where it hit? Left or right, it's pretty good. So a little higher on that third of the deer. That was pretty good. I'm happy with that. Try another one. Yep, shot him in the ass. I guess I'm really tired. Let's go take a look. All right, let's go check it out. Okay, as far as trying to get a group, it's a mess, but it's the first time shooting this bow. Okay, seems like these are going over to the right a little bit. Whenever it goes to the right a lot, that's this. Grabbing the bow a little bit and torquing it. If it goes way to the left, it's usually a pluck. All right, so this was me. I'm tired, no excuses. And this isn't bad, and there's no pad on this. So I was aiming for here and hitting here, these three. Really not bad. We don't know if the spine's correct or anything. I'm happy with it, all right? So, Hop Hornbeam. Always make sure there's moisture in it. Don't tiller it if it's got 4%. I don't care. Just don't tiller it if it's got 4%. It's okay to put water on it. Wipe it down, hydrate it, okay, and just take your time and micro tiller it. There's no rush. And when you start not seeing things clearly or you're a little tired, pack up. Start it for the next day. All right, this is a little tougher to work with than hickory. Hickory is an easy wood to work with compared to this. All right, so watch the whole video if you can. It's a little boring, but the tillering is important. It takes time. All right, thanks again to Keith Shannon for taking the time to talk to a rookie, a guy just starting out, an old man like me, and giving me some nice tips on how to tiller a bow. All right, and fire harden the bow, and I appreciate it. All right, no matter who you are, you could always learn things, and I'm always learning. I just started in December making bows, and I'm grateful for all the help that I got so far. Success. Made a bow. Continue to watch my videos. You never know what I'm going to post. Every day you wake up is a good day. Get out and shoot. Thanks for watching. Okay, I just wanted to add this on. These self bows are tillered to a certain draw length. All right? And unless you're like my friend Bobby that I made that 31-inch draw bow for, don't let anybody pull back your bow, because everybody thinks they know what their draw length is, but a lot of them really don't. And I'm 26.5, and you get a guy 29 pulling this back, and it'll crack. All right, there's a chance it'll break, and all your hard work went down the drain. So tell everybody I'm sorry. Explain to them that this bow is made for my draw length. And if they say, oh, I got the same draw length, no, I'm sorry, nobody could shoot this bow but me. All right, and that's the way it is. And this way you'll have that bow for a lot of years, and nobody will pull it back and break it foolishly on you. All right, just how to add it.